28 degrees in Abuja, the nation's capital. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
Well, it's 29 degrees here in Lagos, and it is already been described as excessive heat, Maupe. So whatever you do today, protect yourself. What's the word now? What do you say when you drink water? Hydrate.
Stay hydrated.
Yes, hydrate. I got mine right here. Good morning and welcome. I'm Ayo Makinde. Now, Maupe, I'm going to be keeping you in Lagos for a bit. I don't know whether I'm taking you home or away, but this trip doesn't usually begin from your end. It usually begins from somewhere around the boat club or Lekki, somewhere there, when you're going to this exclusive, some say it's an exclusive luxury beach, Ilashe Beach here in Lagos, Nigeria. And of course, a number of people will still say, okay, so exactly what are you talking about here? Well, I'm talking about this beach. And I'm talking about it because a good number of people believe that to get there, there are only two options. You can either go there by water or by air. And if you want to teleport, when that technology comes out, maybe you can use it. But it's about 30 to 45 minutes by boat. Offers you a unique opportunity to unwind, as some blogger put it, escape Lagos Wahala. If you want to do that, particularly in this month where we are celebrating women, I think it's a good opportunity. Let some corporations take their women on this exclusive ride. Just take them there, leave them there, no airs, nothing. Let them just unwind, let them live this life. What do you think, Maupe?
Well, what do I think about the beach, or what do I think about celebrating women in Women's Month? Which one? We've got to pick now. What I do know is that, yes, this Ilashe Beach is a truly secret gem hidden somewhere after Snake Island, along Badagry Creek, and bordering the Atlantic Ocean. So certainly it is a gem you might want to visit one day when you do go to Lagos. Or if you're in Lagos, it's a gem that will be worth your while to discover. What do I make of we celebrating women, International Women's Day? All I can say to my fellow sisters is hold your head up. You know, I know that, things are really, really, really tough for Nigerians in general, particularly for women. And when you look at what has been happening in the polity, it's hard to, you say, are we paying lip service to this celebration of women? Or do we really understand what it means to, celebrate women in International Women's Month? It was just International Women's Day was 2 days ago on a Saturday. And wow, was I relieved that I was away from work on that day, because I was not feeling anything like the celebrations. But hey, do not let me take you away. All I can say is to my fellow women, to my older women, to younger girls coming up, hold your head up. There will be brighter days. I believe so. There will be brighter days. But certainly, this is one gem that you can take your time to discover. Ilashe Beach will certainly be worth your while. Still looks a bit rustic, but I can tell you it's as pristine as the beaches of Lagos. Or as pristine a beach as you can get anywhere around the world. Yes, so certainly make it worth your while. But today, Ayo, when we finally come back down to earth from the aerial view that we're giving you, we're going to the southeast of Nigeria, specifically Anambra State. And we're going to be starting with this report. Only recently, the Anambra State government launched its Geographical Information System, something that is supposed to make sure that access to land is a lot easier for the residents of Anambra State, and that there is a record for it. There's proper planning for the state of Anambra. So we will wait and speak to the governor much later, but do listen to this report. And after this report, we'll take a break and start our conversation. Please stay with us.
A significant leap forward for Anambra State as Governor Soludo pushes his technology-driven agenda. Staying true to his mantra of technology everywhere and everything technology, Governor Soludo arrives at the Anambra State Ministry of Land to launch a key initiative, the Anambra State Land Geographic Information System. The new system promises to modernize land administration and management within the state, a major step in the government's efforts to streamline services and enhance transparency.
We pray and we commission this to the glory of God Almighty. Amen. Amen.
The Commissioner for Lands, alongside the contractor, walked the governor through the intricate workings of the GIS, explaining how the technology will streamline land registration, improve accuracy, and enhance overall land management within Anambra State.
Everybody, as of today, going forward, will be able to go online and conduct a search on the title, see all the history, the owners, the land, everything. It's already there. It's waiting for the commission. System, I will skip it, data, okay. KPI, I think it's important. We declared 4 KPIs, and you see here, from land-related revenues.
This innovative approach promises to bring greater transparency and efficiency to land management, benefiting both the government and the people of Anambra State.
One of the highlights of your manifesto was to create an effective and efficient land administration system and to restore confidence of the public in the Ministry of Lands. And like all the solution that we need from the Ministry of Lands.
Governor Soludo explains that the initiative is a direct fulfillment of his administration's manifesto promises, bringing efficiency and transparency to land management in Anambra.
Anambra land is platinum gold. Whether you are going to have as an investment, for Anambra to be an investment destination, for us to be able to create wealth, and even to improve on the value of what we have in terms of the assets that people have, landed assets. We needed to have a world-class land administration system.
In a crucial announcement, Governor Soludo urged all land title holders in Anambra State to take immediate action and begin the recertification of their land titles without delay. The deadline for this recertification is April 26th this year.
The Executive Governor of Anambra State joins us now, Professor Chukwuma Soludo. He's joining us virtually. Good morning and welcome to you, Your Excellency.
Good morning and thank you once again. Really a great pleasure to join you this morning on Sunrise.
Well, we're speaking to you 2 days after the International Women's Day. I do not know if you have a message for the women of Anambra first.
Well, the women happen to be our pride, our bedrock, and in Anambra State, I must say, we happen to be one of the few places in the world where the men are crying for equality of affirmative action. We place our women quite on top. The women dominate various aspects of our lives, and so we celebrate them. Our champions are women, our champions in public service, our champions in all, literally, several ramifications of our society. For example, in our schools, 97% of our teachers in primary schools are women. 90% in secondary school are women. Public sector, civil service, over 60-something% are women. And so we'll celebrate our women and join them in this partnership to create a new Anambra. They are pulling their weight, but we want to be able to ratchet it up. Felicitations to our women and women all over the world, not just in Anambra. Without women, I wonder what the world.
It's interesting you mentioned the issue of parity and you mentioned schools. I do remember that, some time ago, indeed, when a number of people were talking about the day of the girl child and how girl children should be educated. I do recall a representative or two from Anambra saying that their situation was a little different, that what they are trying to do is get more boys in school because it does appear that they have more girls in schools than boys. I don't know if that situation is already beginning to change in Anambra.
Well, the situation today is that Anambra, due to our free education at all, I mean, from kindergarten to senior secondary today, our enrollment in all public schools has gone up by about 22%. And out of school children in Anambra is the lowest in the country at 2.9%. And indeed, if you take out the non-indigents, out of it is about 0.025 in terms of Anambra indigents who are out of school. But even out of those, in other words, in terms of the absolute participation rate, both male and female are now in school. But still, you'll find disparities as you climb up the ladder. More women in getting into higher institutions than boys. The boys want to go and do business. And part of the social crusade we're carrying out now, especially those of them who get into all manner of criminality, getting into the bush and kidnapping and Yahoo, the 419ers, and then those who are peddling drugs. And we're trying to get them out of this. And the moment we roll back everybody to the system of productive life, I think our men, our boys will get back in time to participate more actively in the school curriculum. So yes, it's improving, but we're not yet there. But certainly, women dominate. When people talk about girl child, in Anambra, we'll be talking about boy, boy child participation. That's our own concern here. Our women are doing fantastically well. They are our pride here in Anambra.
It's interesting, but let me go back up, circle back a bit to the report which we played before we went on break, which is the launch of the Anambra State Geographical Information System. For a number of people, while this certainly is very commendable, it does certainly sometimes make people nervous when they see that the state is now about to, document things properly in a manner that is being captured by technology. We understand that this is part of your, your intention, your mantra, to have everything technology and technology everything, so to speak. I think I heard that in that report there. But I'm a little curious, because also mentioned in that report is recertification. And you have given landowners in Anambra, I think up to April, the end of April, to do their recertification. Have you been able to reach out to people to explain why this is important? Do they understand the importance of this?
Thank you very much. A few dimensions to that question. The first is to agree with you that part of our focus here in Anambra about creating the digital tribe and being part of the 21st century and being the leader in that particular space is technology everywhere and everything technology. It's our mantra to digitize and to lead a digital tribe. And coming to that, land for us, actually, aside from human capital, second to human capital in terms of our assets and wealth, it should be land. We have the second smallest landmass in Nigeria, second only to Lagos. We have the second highest population density, second only to Lagos. Indeed, we might say we have the smallest landmass because 1/3 of our land has gone through gully erosion, and Lagos is expanding by reclamation. And so land is a very critical asset to be managed effectively if we are going to have a transformation agenda and claim the 21st century and the 22nd and so on. Efficient land administration is at the heart of it. And so we began this agenda 2 years ago, and I am told it's the fastest digitization of land process, and so far, in 2 years, you have about 90-something% all enrolled into the digital space. And now the certification process, yes, you're right, change. Everybody talks about change. But everybody is more comfortable with the status quo in several cases. But the moment they embrace the change, the moment they see the benefits of the change, you will see the new certificates of occupancy with the security features embodied in it, and in a place where you have all manner of land speculations, people, parading all manner of documents. You have one piece of land with multiple documents, floating around. Now, with the features that we have, difficult for anybody to clone, difficult for anybody to counterfeit. And so we are asking our people, now you want to have something. Your land is outside of human capital, your greatest other asset or wealth in the state. So document it, certify it, and have title. Your title is secured. And I must say that since we finished commissioning that particular, the commissioning and making that announcement as well, I think the Ministry of Land has been inundated with, hundreds and thousands of people now trooping to go to do the recertification, which is very easy. You do that, you get your C of O, new C of O, and you are home and dry. It's bankable, it's, your collateral base is secured, your title is secured, nobody else can counterfeit it. The benefits are quite immense, and we're trying through radios, town hall meetings, explaining to people the benefits of this, and we're hopeful that from the response so far, that the people understand this and they are responding appropriately.
Do they have to
change has come?
Do they have to pay again for recertification?
Not quite much. I mean, just a little token, as it were. That was the principle that we established, the exact amount depending on the size of the property, but it's just a token thing, maybe just to pay for the certificate itself, pretty much, not in terms of the labor or the cost of the study. No.
All right, my colleague Ayo also has questions for you. Ayo.
Well, thank you, Mawkwe. In a sense, Your Excellency, you have addressed part of the question that I have in mind, particularly concerning the GIS. But again, the question that comes to mind about that is, what if some people say, we've had this land, our ancestral home for decades, probably even for centuries, so we don't have the papers anymore? What happens in that situation? We know people are very emotional and cultural and sentimental, as you said as well yourself, when it comes to land and related issues. So I don't know if those issues have also been addressed. If that concern is also factored into the thinking of the government of Anambra State.
Well, we are from say Nigerians or Africans, and we understand the issues about title in an underdeveloped country, and then the attachments, emotional, the formal and the informal relationships interface with that. But until the day you need now to put the asset to the market, then you realize that certainly that land that you claim is probably not yours. Until you now have a need either to present it to a bank, or somebody else shows up in the future and says that this land belongs to him. That's when you suddenly realize that you needed a formal title over that piece of land, even when, you've lost the title over a period of time. We'll say, there is a proverb we'll have here that says, today is still early. Okay, still early enough. You go through a small process and they will get the documentation done for you. This is what gives you, if you like, the peace of mind to be sure that what you think belongs to you actually belongs to you. That because we see many cases here all around, almost every day. You have cases around where people even go to invade even churches. Villagers, youths rise up one morning and claim that this church, which has been there since they were born, that the land was not properly acquired, or that the title was no longer valid. And they invade even churches. You won't believe this. Sacred places. And then all of a sudden there is a dispute about who owns the property. Because then even the church would then have to prove that it has proper title over its church premises. So if it could happen to churches, sacred places, what about then private residences, private properties, and so on? It's just for people to realize that, yeah, nobody is going to come to your house and put a gun over your head and say, well, if you haven't certified it, we are going to be shot. But only realize that if you own a property, it's in your own self-interest to make sure that you have secured title over that property. That's just what it is, because you never can tell disputes that might arise tomorrow. Even when you least expect it, somebody else might show up and say this property belongs to him or her. The only proof you have is the title. You can't be saying, oh, my grandparents lived here. That's no proof. The person will also be claiming that his great-grandparents also lived there. And you don't want to find yourself in a dispute of Israel and the other people, and the Palestinians over who came to the land first, and so on. So proper title is the security that you require to have a peace of mind. And but like I said, it's in the people's own enlightened self-interest to do so.
Well, you know, just one last one on that one. Something you said earlier in response to one of our questions, Your Excellency, talked about the fact that Anambra State has limitations of land space. I don't know if there is any way that you can say that this new GIS contributes to environmental management and urban planning initiatives in the state.
Oh yeah, it's everything. Actually, we're getting the ramifications in all, for us, this land management thing is all encompassing. Even from our erosion control measures, the way we design our roads, termination of flood controls. We're spending tens of billions, not even hundreds of billions, on just flood controls, because 1/3 of our whole land, we're what I call the gully erosion capital of the world, Anambra State. And so the land title, what you use for it, we're very particular now about our fiscal planning. What do you use land for? What goes for what? You can't be having indiscriminate, you have your title and the particular place is designated for residential. You don't come there and start building massive industrial stuff that then degrades the place, and you block off drainages and block off flows of flood and so on. So it's an integrated process where land titles are given, the purpose is defined, the planning permits are given appropriately, and building controls are enforced. It's an ecosystem to be able to ensure that the little we have can be managed sustainably, intergenerationally, from generation to generation, that this place will be, realize the dream, our vision to have a livable and prosperous, smart mega city. It all, the land management, efficient land management is at the core of it all. So planning, fiscal planning and enforcement is quite, very, very important ingredients in it all.
Your Excellency, one of the concerns that I know you have had over the past few years, perhaps even before you came into government, is that of security. And of course, to which effect you you unveiled the Homeland Security Law sometime in January, if memory serves me right. We also understand that there are some expectations from some organizations, and there are those of them who haven't quite complied. For instance, there's another report that says there are certain organizations, certain businesses that have not implemented certain provisions of the Homeland Security Law. So you may want to speak to us generally about how effective that has been, the Homeland Security Law. What's the reason for the pushback? How well have people embraced it, and how effective has it been overall in achieving the security that your government intended?
Thank you very much. Your question is multifaceted, multi-barrel question. But let me take aspects of it. The first thing is that insecurity in Anambra, the southeast, and Nigeria generally is something that everybody is grappling with. And here, when I assumed office, 8 local governments were totally no-go area. You couldn't get to them. And camps of these criminals were all over the place. At least our first phase was to totally now dismantle at least 98, 99% of those and free those local governments. The next phase is now facing the criminal elements, because there was a lie told. I mean, these people are engaged in nothing but lucrative criminality. Those of them in the bushes and involved in criminality is part of a culture of free rent. Nobody wants to work. I mean, many of our youths now don't want to work. They just want money. They just want to earn rent without working. And even some people even preach that you can now have, you know, the prosperity stuff. You have prosperity with no work. You can have a crown with no cross, or wealth without work. And these things fuel those who are involved in drug trafficking, those in the cultism, land grabbing, and then the kidnapping. Because if they try drug trafficking, and it's being tightened, the news is tightened, they try the other ones, and the news is being tightened, they now go into kidnapping, all for easy money. And so we've enacted a Homeland Security Law that is quite comprehensive, that is trying to tackle insecurity at the roots, getting down to basics. The axis of cultism, the axis of drug, which is becoming not just it's an epidemic, as it were. If there is anything worse than an epidemic, that's what it will be all over the place, drugs. And then you'll have the land and the other bits. And now kidnapping. But we have also gone to tackle what I call the institutions and the warped ideology that actually fuel this. And this is where you come to, you know, native doctors who prepare the charms and prepare the days for people who are involved in kidnapping, who are involved in ritual killings, children missing, and so on and so forth, women being kidnapped and missed parts taken, and all of this. We said, no. A 21st century society cannot live with this. So we've gone down to this with a Homeland Security Law to tackle all of this in a holistic manner, almost like in a cleansing phase. Operation, know who is your neighbor, know who is your tenant, know whom property you are given. For example, drug is under the exclusive list. It's a federal offense, but in Anambra, we've made it a property offense. If your property is used for the manufacture, sale, or use of any of these banned hard drugs, that property is forfeited to the state government, and we demolish it. And so over time now, if you've been paying close attention, I must tell you, it's gone like wildfire since we started. You're not going to get to the destination in one day. there will be some pushbacks and so on and so forth. It's taking decades to take hold. You're not going to solve it in a month or a year. But I must tell you, since January, those who live within Anambra, who know what is going on in Anambra, will tell you the differences come like a wildfire. There is even what the skit makers, they make me laugh, actually, with all manner of dozens of skits every day, talking about the Soludo's race or run, I don't know what they call it. In other words, that the native doctors and all the fake pastors who are, confusing the youths. You don't need to walk. You just get something that they're all on the run from Anambra. And I'm happy that even our neighboring states of Delta and Imo have also followed suit on the same, because these people, criminals, were said to be running to Asaba. And then the Asaba responded and then asked them to leave Asaba as well. Now, they started running to Owerri, and I understand the traditional rulers of Imo have now said, no, you are not welcome here as well. So we're trying to cleanse the place, okay, and get back our values back. We have a proverb here in Igbo, literal translation of it is that only a soiled hand can lead to an oily mouth. In other words, going back to our agriculture, it's only when you farm that you can expect to eat. And the Bible says, he who does not work, let him not eat. That's the mantra, the value system we're going back to. Because Anambra people, we're known for a few things. We are known for exceptional enterprise. We're known for integrity. That's what made us who we are all over the world. When you say that Anambra has the largest number of millionaires per square kilometer in Africa, it's not for nothing, but we don't want it to become on the basis of criminality. So
Your
we're
Excellency,
trying to take our society back from the roots, from the foundations. And I can tell you so far, it's like the difference between them in terms of results so far. Yes, there are aspects in terms of reportings that will still take quite a little bit to fully come on, but communities have taken, or landlords, giving full profiles of their tenants and so on. But if we catch criminals within your property, you will also be held responsible. So
I think that begs the question. My sincere apologies, Your Excellency. Because, I mean, just as you said, quite a number of criminality was ongoing when you assumed office, and criminality cannot happen without criminals. Were there any arrests? Because there are those who believe that anyone who is poor cannot afford the kind of arms and ammunition that the criminals must have been using to terrorize the people over time, to the extent that there is a day that people cannot go out. So poor people cannot fund that kind of thing. Have any arrests been made? Have anyone been caught? Have some names been given to you? Have the security agencies caught anyone? I don't know if you can hear me, Your Excellency.
Yes, I am. It's breaking, but I am hearing you now. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. I hope you got the question.
Okay. No. Multidimensional in terms of arrests, yes. The short answer to your question is many arrests. In fact, many of these people are being, to use their term, neutralized on a daily basis. The criminals, the camps are being invaded on a daily basis. In fact, about 2-3 days ago, there was a massive one in one of the places, and more than 30 of them were actually taken out, as it were. And so we keep on going in that direction. But let me also, there are many dimensions to this in terms of access to arms. Okay? Yes, there is the thesis about the transnational nature of this criminality. Those who contribute money from abroad and all of that and so on to finance some of this. Fair enough, and this is where the Interpol and the federal agencies are working very hard on, and so on and so forth. We have intel on some of this, but that's their job to do. But then within, you know, you had something that was going on in the Southeast. Very unfortunate, where these criminals would organize themselves, get to checkpoints, kill policemen or soldiers on checkpoints, collect their AK-47. And nobody actually asked, how will these people who are collecting these AK-47, they will go to police barracks, burn down the place, sack the entire police there, enter their armory, carry their arms, and go away. I remember when I was running for office, when we were campaigning, one local government, Ihiala, no candidate could step foot on Ihiala local government at all. And the day I was even to have a rally in my local government, just an hour or two before we began, they came at the roundabout there and opened fire, killed 2 DSS personnel, and took their guns. Now, when they were collecting this and going, nobody actually, many people never stopped to ask or to wonder, how will these people be feeding 1 month, 6 months, 1 year in the bush without using the same arms for criminality? And basically, what you found was that a whole lot of the arms that they were taking from the security agencies are the same arms that they have turned back. You see them with GPMGs, you see them with AK-47s, you see them with, in fact, the kind of things that can even bring down aircrafts. Then IEDs, the improvised devices that they lay even on the roads and so on in bushes and where they come. They come with CCTV cameras to secure themselves, just to secure their criminal enterprise. So yes, the short answer is that the problems are multidimensional, where they get their arms and their sources. We are tracking down and taking out, that we're taking them out in dozens, almost on a daily basis. But the reason we have this Homeland Security law, which is novel, and I'm sure many people are also studying it, several other states are studying it, is to getting down to the roots, the foundations of society, the ideology, the theology that fuels this kind of criminality. We've got to tackle this. Otherwise, as you kill 10, 20 are being manufactured or supplied. So we are taking a very comprehensive look to build a new society where, you know, you don't get something for nothing. You have to work to earn something. You earn a living and not just make money. Money doesn't fall from the sky. And where we even begin to interrogate, in fact, under our Homeland Security law, when we see somebody who is living, whose out display of wealth seems to be reasonably above what could be expected to be earning power, the law empowers the agents to be able to call in the person for some questions about sources of this wealth. Because for all you know, it could have just been the ransom that the guy collected from kidnapping a week ago, and he comes out and starts throwing the money up. And the youths are dancing and thinking that this is the way to go. You see, the guy who was a barrel pusher, an Okada rider yesterday, all of a sudden he shows up the next morning and is driving a car of 100 million. And nobody asks, how did you get it? What's the source? In fact, I have this thesis that a society where we no longer ask people, what do you do for a living? It's a society that will have difficulty, you know, making it in the 21st century. And so we are getting back to basics, the values that underpin a prosperous and livable society, a decent society where everybody feels safe and secure. And so what we're building in Anambra and trying to now turn Anambra to become a destination point rather than a departure lounge will not be sustainable if we have this kind of warped ideologies, you know, fueling the future. Because the youths happen to be our today and our tomorrow, so to speak. And so we are making arrests, we're taking them out in their numbers, But more fundamentally, we are taking our crusade down to every aspect of our society. The villages, the churches, the markets, the schools, the children, and so on and so forth.
Ponder on it, because it's a good thing to know that you're not just tackling this on the surface. You're also tackling the philosophy behind it. And Anambra is not short of philosophers and writers, you know, very talented deep thinkers and writers. Your Excellency, let me take you up on the issue of the World Bank loan, which you rejected. You did, let's say, explain to the citizens or the residents of Anambra that last year 438 billion naira was shared amongst 35 states of the Federation, but that you refused to take a loan because you do not want to put your people into further slavery. Those were the words that you used. What exactly are the terms of that particular loan that made it so difficult for you to accept?
I'm not quite sure. Well, I don't know who used the word slavery. And, you know, this is the way the media likes to put out some of these things about slavery and all of that.
This is let me just quickly set it straight. This is a direct quote. It says, last year, 438 billion naira was distributed among 35 states, and Anambra was the only state that declined. I need money, but I cannot borrow my state into slavery.
Oh. That's like I said, when they put it, when you say direct quote, I don't know who said into slavery. Maybe the word slavery is it's too much of a harsh word. Let me put it be clear. You see, part of what we've tried to do since I came into office is trying to put Anambra on a path of fiscal sustainability. We pulled out from the brink. Like when I came in, the state government was technically insolvent. And was owing 4 years arrears in gratuities to retired workers, 4 years arrears to those who retire from the local government system, primary school teachers, and so on and so forth. Which, by the way, we have cleared the one of the states, and they're now up to date. The one of the local government, I think this week, actually, they will clear that up to 2020. Remaining 2021, which I hope by the end of this year would have been cleared. And we've put back our place on a path of fiscal sustainability. I think budget put Anambra, one of the 5 states now, in terms of fiscal sustainability. For me, it's foundational. We pay our contractors as at Wendo. Once you do service for Anambra, you get paid. That's what everybody can take to bank. And we have massive work ongoing. I have not borrowed a kobo from any bank. And not just that we haven't borrowed. If I put together all that we have earned in 3 years, I will be having my 3rd year anniversary on Monday. All that I've spent in 3 years, if we put it in dollar terms to be able to compare to history, will still be about 65% of what was spent in 1 year. In 2013. But then comes the loan thing. This loan was negotiated before I came in, I think during the COVID era. It's called NG Cares. And when I came and I looked at the terms of the loan, this loan was in dollar terms, and you gave it to us as at the time you had the official exchange rate at 406 naira to the dollar. And I said to them, of course, I knew that that was too artificially fixed, and that exchange rate was going to give way. I knew as day follows night that sooner or later that exchange rate will exceed 1,000. And I said, you give it to me at 406 naira. And I know in the next few months or few years when it will be due for repayment, my state will have to look for 3 times that or more to repay that loan. I told the World Bank team that was the most expensive source of financing in the world, most expensive in the world, even if it was at 0 interest. So that's a packet on number 1. Number 2 is the details of it. This loan was structured under COVID, and part of it is all these handouts. You know, you put out some list, you are going to be giving some people handouts, vulnerable group, and so on and so forth. Almost like trying to create the equivalence of what you have as a welfare system in the Western world. Fair enough. That will only be fair, I mean, for me, if this is sustainable. If you get a few people today and your loan lasts for 2 years, and I put them on a monthly stipend, I pay them for 2 years, and then after 2 years, your loan it's no longer there. What happens to them? In fact, many of them, just like welfare system in the Western world, will get back to situations far worse than they were because they have become dependent on this for a short while. I said, no, I would rather take this loan, even if we cure the exchange rate anomaly. In terms of purpose, I would like to borrow for the things that create wealth. For the village, I mean, if I have 100 naira to spend, between using it to give a few persons handouts and using it to create access road to a village so that the farmers there can bring out their commodities to the market, where you have in Nigeria 43% of food produced, post-harvest losses. If I can use that money to open up those avenues so that these farmers can earn value for their products, take their money to the open market and get value. And that's the response I'm getting from the Anambra people. When we have roads now crossing and touching all manner of nooks and crannies of Anambra, the places that I've never seen 1 inch of tarred road, the feedback I get from the people when we go around there, they are telling you the economics, how they have become 5 times, 10 times wealthier than they have been. That's what these people need, not to go to that village and take 10 persons and then give them handouts. Meanwhile, the handouts are so paltry. And in the next 2 years, you'll be asking, what did we spend it on? You can't account for it in terms of impact. The loan is over, and the people go back to the worst situation than they were before the loan came, because you don't have the domestic finances cannot continue. And at the same time, the lives of the villagers remain the same. So I said, no. We have to craft this thing better. I will only take a loan that I can show how it will get back to be paid, number one. Number two, that I can also explain to the Anambra where this money is going and how their lives will be better today and tomorrow. Sustainability is key for me.
So tell us.
So yes, like I said, yes.
I wanted to know if you also had this conversation with your fellow governors, your brother governors.
Well, on this matter, every state, like I said, this is a loan that was negotiated before I assumed office. And so I don't think we didn't have the luxury of getting to sit as a group to discuss whether we should take the loan or not take the loan. I'm sure most governors who were also elected the time I was elected or later on in 2023 also met the loan already running. But for me, I was clinical about it. I came and I saw it, examined the terms of the loan, and I felt this was not good for my people. Not today, not tomorrow. And I will not borrow for those kinds of transient consumption that I know that I'm not going to be able to sustain. Better don't start than start. They say the Western world, in several countries, have been trying to pull out of their welfare system. That's wealthy society. Even they are in trouble. Why would I just borrow when Anambra is the gully erosion capital of the world? There are communities cut off. In fact, there are now about 3 communities cut off that they can't go to their homes by slide, gully erosion. And I need over 10 billion. We just presented it to my exco last week. And I need over 10 billion just to connect them back. And that's agricultural communities. That's the kind of thing, if you're giving me money, if I'm borrowing and I'm borrowing for that kind of thing, then I can show value. but not to take money and go to that village. If I can cross over with a bicycle, I go to that village and give 20 persons a handout for 2 years. And they are back worse off. What they need is for me to fix that gully there so that they can bring out their commodities to the market and get value.
Your Excellency, I was going to ask you, do you have a problem with the borrowing or you have a problem with welfareism?
No. I have a problem with, I don't have a problem with welfareism. Welfareism is great, provided you can fund it. Okay.
Just to get that straight, because I do know that you were also at the forefront, when the federal government was thinking about this social welfare program, you and your brother governors were talking about how to get the social register right. So I had to be clear whether it was borrowing to fund welfareism or welfareism itself that you had a problem with.
No. I mean, that one, we had many issues with that. First of all, there were issues about the register, the credibility of the register, the authenticity of it, and how the names in the register were put in there. In Nigeria here, when you do elsewhere where you have accurate data, people work and their incomes are reported accurately. So you have means testing to know who is poor, who is not. You come to a community and you want to collect data on who is poor, who needs that, and so on and so forth. Everybody's name, people put in their friends and relations and in a register. So we had issue with whether that register represented the social register in terms of need.
Has that been sorted now? Instance.
Well, it's at various stages of being sorted out. That's my own take on it. Whatever some others might feel differently, but I believe that is at various stages of being cleaned out in one way.
I know that, you've been in office now for close to 3 years, and another election is coming up very, very soon. I wanted to ask you, what would you consider the greatest challenge that you faced as governor of Anambra State?
Listing. Well, you've left the other one, the one you talk about.
We're almost out of time now.
Okay, so but just to put it on record, we're not against welfareism. Indeed, part of what we are doing here, because I need to clarify this, we are empowering people sustainably. When I distribute over 2 million palm and coconut seedlings to over 200,000 households, 10 of those, once they start maturing, fruiting in 3-4 years, will take those families out of poverty for life. That is sustainable welfareism. When I get on in terms of youth empowerment, and we've trained and empowered 5,000 youths who now describe themselves as proud young millionaires, that 1,000 of them are now training another 1,000 themselves. And they are very proud on national TV to describe themselves as proud young millionaires. And we're training another 8,300 soon to be empowered. That's sustainable welfareism within the confines of our stuff. When we have free education from kindergarten through senior secondary, and now increase school enrollment by 22%, and out of school children, the lowest in the country. That's money in the pockets of the poor people and on a sustainable basis. When we have
Your
free
Excellency,
antenatal,
I think that you've made your point with regards to, clarity on welfareism. So just the last question as to what your greatest challenge has been since you became governor of Anambra State.
Let me put it this way. Well, on that one, say I apply for this job. I apply for this job consciously. I have been there at the federal level. I served globally, was consultant to about 21 international organizations and financial institutions before I was called upon to serve at the federal level. At the federal level, served as Chief Economic Advisor, de facto Minister of National Planning, then governor of Central Bank, and served in more than 25 technical committees at the federal level, and decided consciously, knowing what the problems are or were and still are in Nigeria and at the subnational level, consciously decided that it was time to get down to my home state, to contribute, to help in making the place better than I met it.
Your Excellency, I really do hate to interrupt you, but 30 seconds
when you
left.
talk about challenge,
challenge.
When you talk about challenge, so for me, there is nothing that I have seen that I call, when I say I came, no excuses, no complaints. I don't see anything as a challenge. There is nothing that I have seen that I did not anticipate. Absolutely none.
I believe it's a fine place to leave it. I do believe that there will be further engagement with you, especially as you look forward to your 3rd anniversary. Your Excellency, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, Governor of Anambra State, thank you so much for speaking with us on Sunrise Daily this morning. Just very quickly, is the Monday sit at home still being observed? Some of our viewers want to know.
Well, I will tell you that's dominantly in most parts of course, it's never been in the capital city and environs. It's never been since I came here. And so when we say Monday, so, and then some other places, sporadically up to maybe 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, then the place is all filled out and running.
Thank you so much for coming on the program this morning, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Always a great pleasure. Always a great pleasure. And look forward to seeing more of you.
All right. Well, that's where we leave the program this beautiful Monday morning. Ayo, I think it's a fine place to leave it. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokpe Yusuf.
Well, let's just go straight into business. I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful rest of your day.